Yeah, welcome everybody to our April Business After Hours. And as most of you know, these have been on something of a hiatus for a year now. And we've had a few of these virtual ones, and we found that people do like getting together, even if it's virtually. It's not quite the same as doing it in person. And we hope to be able to get back to some form of in-person gathering in the coming months. We're just not sure when that might be or what it might look like. We're obviously following public health guidance about that kind of thing, and so it'll be a decision that we make with care. But hopefully that will happen sooner rather than later. That's our hope, at least to do outdoor events, and that's we've had business after hours as outdoor events in the past during the summer, so the timing might be good to do a couple of those. But we'll keep you posted on that. Keep pay attention to our newsletter and e-blasts as they come around, and you'll know what's next with that. It has implications for lots of our other events as well, but Business After Hours has been a popular thing for years, and we've had anywhere from 15 or 20 people to over 100 people, depending on where it is and time of year. So we're committed to keep doing them as much as we can in whatever way we can. So with that, if you don't know Taryn Fisher, you will in a few minutes. And once you know her, she's really hard to forget. So you'll and she's been involved in well, I don't even want to list the things she's been involved with because it's a long list. But among those things has been in the arts to kind of work with galleries, and she had one form of that a year or so ago. And now has just launched a slightly different business model that I'm anxious to hear about. So I won't take up any more of her time, and we'll turn it over to you, Taryn.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. Hi, everyone. I'm Taryn Fisher, the director of the New Leaf Gallery, and I'm joined by my business partner, Matt Brown. He is the owner of the New Leaf Gallery. So Matt, give a wave so folks can see you. Yep. So Matt and I are going to kind of double team this presentation, and Matt is actually in the gallery, and we are in the middle of doing renovations. So he's going to be able to show you some of the renovations that are underway as we speak. But just for a tiny bit of background, as Phil mentioned, it was a year ago, February, right, Phil, when I did the Business After Hours at what I call the Big Gallery on Central Square. I think it was the February event. Anyway, what I refer to as the Big Gallery was 2 doors down from the chamber on Central Square, and it was a League of New Hampshire Craftsmen fine craft gallery. And I just really loved it. It was great. People gave us such tremendous feedback. They loved having such a beautiful shop right on Central Square. And we had a great first year. We opened in June 2019, and then had finished up our first year with a really strong December. And we spent the first few months of 2020 getting ready for the upcoming year, and then COVID hit, and we closed our doors there in at the end of April in 2020. So that was quite a whirlwind. Not quite 11 months, but learned a lot. And through that process, I got to know Matt Brown. Matt is a juried printmaker with the League of New Hampshire Craftsmen. And when the Big Gallery closed, Matt and I began speaking over the summer about what might a new gallery look like in this time of COVID. And so what I thought I would do is, and I'm going to do a screen share in just a moment, is I'll show you our website, but over the course of the summer, and Matt, if you find you want to jump in at any point and, you know, add anything that I'm missing here, please
Well,
do.
one point of information is in the fall of 2017, I live in the little town of Lyme, New Hampshire, just north of Hanover. I had taken over an existing art and craft gallery, and we renamed it Matt Brown Fine Art. So I was running a little gallery, and so that's part of why you reached out to me, because I not only had work at your gallery here in Keene, but had some experience on the other side of it as a gallery owner, and that's where the conversations came out of. You know, how could you go on from here, especially we were addressing COVID concerns and you know, trying to divine the future.
Well, thank you for
Does that
saying
help?
that, because that's a really important part of the story. Yes, thank you. So
Well, yes, technically the New Leaf Gallery is a DBA of my Matt Brown Fine Art LLC, actually.
yeah, so thank you. And again, Matt, if you find me veering off path, you know how to get me back on track. So anyway, we, over the course of the summer of 2020, we're really talking about what a new gallery might look like and how it might succeed in this time of COVID. And we both thought that having a really, really strong sort of online presence and online platform would be really, really important. And so our thinking was, when we first started this venture in the fall of 2020, was that we would focus very, very strongly on the online piece. And then we would also have a very, very small physical gallery in Keene, which we have. It's currently located on the second floor of Central Square, right above the stage. It's one of those very small office spaces, again, on the second floor. And that's where our current gallery is located. So our thinking was that we would focus much of our energy on the online piece and then have a little bit of a physical presence. So I'm going to start by showing you our website, but then I very quickly want to transition to what's going on right now, because it's actually quite exciting. So I'll move through the online piece very quickly, and then I'll absolutely ask Matt to join in terms of what we have undertaken in the last couple of weeks, and we're able to do a show and tell for you on that. So I'm going to very quickly do a screen share. Share screen. Here we go. Okay, good. And can you all see the website?
Yes, you might want to just make it full screen.
Full screen. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. And I'm just going to move this out of the way. Okay, great. So when you land on our homepage, the landing page, you have a little bit of the story of who we are and what we're doing. And so this gallery, unlike the Fine Craft Gallery, which, you know, had all kinds of things, ceramics, glass, fiber, wood, jewelry, and so forth, this gallery, the New Leaf Gallery, is focused solely on original handmade limited edition prints. And Matt is a color woodblock printmaker using the Japanese hanga style of printmaking. And so the current gallery features a roster of artists. And I'll just use Matt's page as an example, where, you know, you click on the artist and then you get a little bit of information about the artist. You can go directly to the artist's website, and then you can peruse the prints. And if there's one in particular that is of interest, you click on it. You can learn a little bit more about the print. And then you can actually click the purchase button, and that connects the two of us, meaning me and the customer, and then I can transact the sale in the form of a very simple, very straightforward e-commerce methodology. We also have online exhibits, and this one in particular is what's up right now. And before we actually decided to take the space on Roxbury Street, which Matt is going to tell you about, we thought our strategy for the summer of 2021 would be to have our physical location on the second floor of Central Square above the stage, but then to partner with street level collaborators, and we could use their wall space as our gallery. And so that was our 2021 strategy about 2 months ago. So we currently have this installation of prints. The exhibition is called Making an Impression, and it's a selection of color woodblock prints. And so we've actually got 3 different locations, Green Energy and Prime Roast here in Keene. And then we also have an installation up at Dartmouth in Lebanon as well. And so we have these online exhibitions that are complemented by a physical exhibition of the work. Each month, we are hosting a Zoom event, and these Zoom events have been really well attended. We've had anywhere from 20 to 30 people jumping on board for these monthly printmakers gatherings, folks from across the United States and Canada. So we're really gaining some traction, and you can actually see clips from those events we have posted on our website under the library tab. If you're interested in seeing, you know, short synopsis clips of the Zoom events, you can see them on our library tab. We are posting once a month a blog, and then we have information about physically visiting and shopping. And so this is a picture of our current gallery on Central Square, second floor. It's a 1-room space. It's just an absolutely lovely little gallery. You know, you go up past Snippers around the corner, and there we are at the end of the hallway. So I'm going to pause there, Matt. Did I leave anything out with the website or the current gallery? Should I do a start? Should I keep sharing, or should I stop share?
Well, you could take a moment and show that Colleen's, rather the Making an Impression. There is actually an online exhibit there, I think, isn't there? If you scroll down and click below, you scroll down.
Yep.
Or if you clicked on the Calling on Special Places.
Yeah, let me start again right here. Click
You scroll
this.
down. Well, don't click that. Scroll down to the next exhibit.
Okay.
And click on click on Making an Impression.
Yep.
And then they can just scroll down. You can see.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Yes.
tell them a little bit about that.
Yeah. So again, what we're trying to do here is and I'm going to just juggle my screen so I can get this out of the way for my view.
Let's go down to Mary Graham a little lower. Scroll
Okay.
down.
Yep.
Yeah, and then use those arrows to go
Yep.
to footprints. Yeah. Mary lives in Wilton, New Hampshire. Not so far.
And so to Matt's point, we are featuring the work of our color woodblock printmakers in this particular exhibit. And so if there's an artist of interest, you can take a look at their work, and then you scroll down to Mary, and then you scroll down to Lenita, and so forth. And I think my bandwidth on my side is causing a slight delay, which is why it looks a little fuzzy. It's probably on my side. But yeah, so thank you again, Matt, for helping me sort of do a little bit more complete job of explaining what the online exhibits are all about. So I'm going to pause there.
Shall I pick up? We could go to the next exhibit, and I could explain how that led to this space at 11 Roxbury. Shall I share that story?
This one here.
Yeah, maybe we should take a moment though and see how we're doing. Should we ask people if this is going okay? If there are any specific questions so far? I guess it's
Doing great.
going okay. Okay, okay. So this exhibit is a concept. I think we came up with this concept before the making an impression some months ago. Yeah, I mean, you know, this COVID has been quite a doozy as far as upending the way we connect and converse and think about our lives and so forth. And we've had this idea of reaching out to artists in a little bit of a different way, where an exhibit that starts online and people submit, and we've had quite a bit of submissions, and then will become a real exhibit June 1st, actually, just in time for the Keene Art Walk. Well, we needed a space to set it up, to exhibit it. We didn't imagine people coming up to that second floor suite 10. And that led to conversations with, well, particularly between Taryn and Patty, who owns the space. We were curious about the space next to Prime Roast, where Creative
Encounters.
yeah, it was. But no, she had something going there. But she said, "Oh, I got this other space." And sure enough, I think it was the day we were hanging, making an impression at Green Energy, that I forget the name of the realtor, Cliff.
Oh gosh.
Vincent.
Yes, Vince. Yes.
Showed us the space here at 11 Roxbury, and there are a couple of key things. North-facing windows, you know, not far from the square. There are a couple of things we thought, we really like the Country Living restaurant around the corner from Prime Roast. We thought, you know, and then 17 Rocks above, we thought, well, you know, this is a pretty special opportunity. And so we decided without a lot of forethought to ante up. That's where we are. And we were some 2 weeks into kind of a renovation, and I can report that I had not met Patty, landlady, but she was walking by just a few minutes before that thunderstorm opened up. I'm hoping she got home without getting wet, and she was just waving, and I waved, not knowing who she was, and she came in, and then she said, "Well, I'm actually Patty, your land." And so she expressed real pleasure. She said, Taryn, she's been wanting to get you in one of her buildings, you know, and so that's that part of the story.
Yeah, and I'm going to do a stop share at the moment, so we can again ask if anybody's got any questions so far. Excuse me, but yeah, Patty and I have been in conversation for a couple of years, and she's been really, really interested in collaborating. As many of you know, she's deeply committed to the arts in Keene and the Monadnock region. She and her husband own the distillery in Winchester. They own a number of buildings downtown. They are, as Matt mentioned, the property owner for the building where we're going to be setting up our gallery, which is where 17 Rocks is. For those of you who don't know what 17 Rocks is, it's on the second level of the building where we're going to be located, and it's about 10 or 15 different artists' studios, and they're super affordably priced. And so these artists, and it's managed by Georgia Casamatis, who is a mover and shaker in the arts community here in Keene. And so, oh, and the other thing, Patty and her husband are purchasing a building at 17 Federal Street. And they are hoping to convert that building, which I think was formerly owned by the church. They're hoping to convert that building into an art space as well. So I just feel like it's such a vibrant time in terms of the arts community. I feel like there's such potential with the colonial renovation well underway, and the new showroom ready to go. The new Moco Arts building across the street from where we're going to be. There's just so much happening in the arts sector. And we just really felt, as Matt described, quite energized to be moving from a second floor location to street level. And we're really putting ourselves right in the center of things. And so Patty and I finally had a chance to hook up with, a space, and things just have been falling together quite quickly. So are there any questions or comments or observations so far? Is anybody familiar with the Roxbury block? Katie, I see you're nodding. Yes.
Right in my neighborhood. I live on
Awesome.
the street, so it's a short walk for me.
Yeah, so it's the suite where Gnarly Roots was located. And it's between the hi-fi joint and the photography, Lisa Arnold Photography. So you probably know exactly which, and there's all kinds of paint chips right now because I've been scraping the front of the building. Yeah. So Matt, what do you think?
Well, I have a question, maybe to throw out to folks. There's another project that has developed for us with the new leaf alongside of this, which is my younger son recently graduated, last February, graduated from Middlebury College as a English, well, it was a major of his own that he worked up in film and creative writing. And he's out in Salt Lake City, but I'm not exactly sure how it got going. Well, he's been doing editing our little Zoom get-togethers, our monthly Zoom get-togethers, and one thing led to another. And now he's underway. Actually, yesterday did first day of shooting of a project of 6 videos featuring some of our member printmakers. They're little, maybe 3 to 5 minute vignettes to tell their story in the context of our idea. Our main operating dream is that we foster connection and conversation around the activity of printmaking. And so these video projects are coincident with that. And there's the project involves 6, and the 6th one is the biggest part of it, and it's a portrait of Taryn and her relationship with her hometown of Keene and so forth. And so I want to push you guys a little bit to maybe weigh in a little bit. I think is it about 10 days away that he would show up with his camera and pair of helpers? Is that right? Do you know what the schedule is, Taryn?
He's planning to come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week.
Oh, next week. Oh, cool.
And I saw him this afternoon very, very briefly, and we talked about the fact that there may be an opportunity to do some more filming during Art Walk, because we will be fully renovated by then. We're hoping to do a COVID safe opening on the Friday night of Art Walk, which would be June 4th. Again, COVID safe, but some kind of an event in the gallery spilling out to the sidewalk. So he may be back, or he may send some of his crew back to do some filming during that. Yeah, but we're hoping to get a good chunk of the filming done next week. And, this has been kind of an adventure to talk about, well, what is the story that we'd like to tell in this particular video? And
yeah,
I feel really compelled to tell the story about the depth and breadth of the arts, not just in Keene, but in the Monadnock region in southwestern New Hampshire. The breadth and the depth of the arts and culture sector, combined with
and somewhat your relationship to it or something as well. No.
Yes. Well, he's going to figure out how to.
You're supposed to answer the question, why Keene?
Why Keene?
I get this question. What are you doing down in Keene?
Yeah.
Why Keene? So,
well, and so
can anybody jump in on that? Why Keene?
Well, Taryn will Taryn will appreciate this because I think she first applied this term, but it's the secret sauce.
Yes.
There's a secret sauce here.
Right.
There is a secret sauce here. I am absolutely convinced. And I've lived a lot of different places, very rural, very urban. And I've traveled a bunch, not as much as some of you have, but I've traveled a bunch. And there's something really special about this region. And as Matt mentioned, his son is the videographer. And so I'm relying deeply on Asher to help articulate the story. And I think the pieces of the story are the physical beauty of the region, the history of the region, the fact that we have been a leader in the manufacturing sector through the early, period of the industrial era. Again, I mentioned the depth and breadth of the arts sector. But there's also something else. And Phil, you and I have talked a lot about this, and this is an intangible that I would love to be able to make a little bit more tangible. There's something about the connectedness of the community. There's something about the way relationships work in our part of the state that really is special. And Phil, I don't know how to put words to it, but I'm really hoping to sort of get to that in this video.
Yeah, well, this really is a nice, this fits nicely with the effort that we've had underway for a couple of years now that to promote the region, we refer to it as PTR because we're so creative. But
PTR stands for
Promote the region.
promote the region. Oh,
But in any event, to do that effectively, to encourage people to visit us or to move here or come work here, whatever the reason is they may come here, retire here. To do that effectively in today's media market is a pretty sophisticated and expensive exercise. And so we couldn't go about it and say, hey, we've got $5,000, we're going to promote the region. That's just not going to do it. So we created a budget of roughly $600,000 to do it, to get started on it over a period of 2 to 3 years. And we're right now, we think we're about $400,000 toward that, including some federal money and some money we've put together locally. And if anybody wants to see some of the early work we did, sort of prototype work we did, there's something on our website, keenechamber.com. Right at the top, you'll see a button that says why we love it here. And if you push that button, you'll see a bunch of videos, short videos. They're 3 minutes, type of thing. And it's different people talking about why they love it here, including some people from the arts. So when I hear this conversation, this is part of that story. It's not the only part of that story, but it's a really important part of the story. So we hope to work with groups like this and with Matt and Taryn, to make sure that as we tell the story, as we brand the region, so to speak, and that's part of the exercise, that this is part of that story. So this is great stuff.
So I have a question, maybe for you or for that secret sauce idea that you mentioned. I think for me, I was some folks who live in Marlborough got me down here a number of years ago, and I'd never climbed Mount Monadnock. This was about 5 years ago. So, and I got this feeling of something quite special about that mountain. I didn't make a trip to Keene at that time. Actually, my first real visits to Keene have been just recently with Taryn, but there's something about that I noticed up on the mountain that I'm also noticing here in Keene, and I have the following question, which is when you think of where cities get started and how how our human civilization evolves and where it goes, there's often interesting dynamics between being on a thoroughfare, like being on the Silk Road, or being in New York City right at the hub with the ports where people come in, and being somewhat isolated. Sometimes being right in the heavy thick of it is not the best thing for a nice community to establish. And I'm curious if that secret sauce might be some combination of the proximity of Keene in the southern part of New Hampshire to folks, more folks living in the south, but sort of like Mount Monadnock, it also has sort of stands by itself enough so that you all have a little more sense of community than you might get if you were located right on 91 or like Concord up on 89. Is that a possibility? I'm curious about that. Whether it's just the location with other areas. Is that a possibility? Something along those lines?
I think that's part of it, but that's why it's a secret sauce. There's lots of ingredients. But I think you're onto something. This area, there's an interesting history of this area, but when you think about it in terms of the arts, when the railroad came here from Boston, there were people, if anybody knows where the Bank of America building is downtown, also on Central Square, go in there sometime in the lobby and look up on the wall, and there are these gigantic portraits. Two of them, I forget who the third one is, but the two of them are Emerson and Thoreau.
Yeah, and
And
third is the art is a Thayer, Henry.
Yeah,
Abbott
Thayer,
Thayer.
right. So, those were the type of people that were coming here. And sometimes it was initially to climb the mountain, sometimes it was for other reasons. But there's a long history of drawing people of that, with that kind of life passion to the area. And Laura may want to jump in here too. She's on our PTR task force, so if I said anything out of school, she'll correct me.
Pro Phil.
But, Phil, to that point, my favorite mural is the Barry Faulkner mural. And the fact that it's a mural of a muralist painting a mural across the street from a mural that he painted. I mean, it's just like, to me, that there's something there that I have a hard time putting words to, but there's something there, that nest of connectivity or something that really contributes. So this idea of secret sauce with many ingredients is absolutely at play. And Matt, I do think the remoteness combined with sort of an attractive place to locate, there's something there as well, these sort of very really interesting juxtapositions. So I'm, with the video project that Matt described a moment ago, I'm hoping to be able to tell that story. I'm going to try as hard as I can to tell it as effectively as I can. What are the pieces of the secret sauce that really make where we live and work special? But anyway, that's the video project that we've got sort of underway. And so those will be posted sometime this summer, I'm guessing. And we have a full summer ahead of exhibitions and activities. We'll be participating in the League's annual fair at Sunapee. We're going to have a tent there. We'll be participating in the fall art studio tour, the fall foliage tour in the October timeframe. Of course, we'll be out and about during the Keene Music Festival. So we're really looking forward to what's to come, knowing it's got to be COVID safe, and we fully intend to practice safety protocols, but we're really excited about what's to come. Yeah, and Phil, there's a couple of chats that are coming up, and I can't keep up with them, so maybe I can follow up afterwards. But Matt, show them the gallery.
Oh, there's one note from Phil, whether we continue to exhibit outside the gallery, and I would think we do. We have the commitments you mentioned, sponsoring a tent at Sunapee, and
We'll probably be at the
yeah.
hospital because we've got a nice connection up in Lebanon, and they have multiple galleries there, and we'll probably have an installation in some location at Dartmouth pretty much at all times, I'm thinking.
Yeah, the
I've
reason
made
I,
my living.
the reason I raise it is there are lots of towns in this region that may want to be part of this in some way, some kind of tangible way. So, and many of them have spaces that you might find intriguing, for that kind of thing. So, you could create not only your sort of virtual presence through your website, but a little bit of a web of physical presence throughout the region as well.
So that's a great idea, and I may connect with you afterwards, Phil, for some obvious recommendations, and then I can continue to dig a little bit deeper. I mean, so, for example, the Hancock Inn might like to have a mini gallery on site there as an example.
Yeah, I think there's lots of them. There's a nice space in Jaffrey that has done this kind of stuff in a refurbished building and more in the West Jaffrey side of things. But there are many of them around. Some of them in places you wouldn't necessarily think they would be. And I'm not saying you'd have to do an exhibit there that would last 6 months. I don't. That's not the way it sort of comes together in my head. But I think you would find some interest. Certainly, Peterborough is a very artistically oriented community, and there's probably space here somewhere. I mean, there might be space on Laura's walls somewhere, but anyway,
And Laura, where are you set up? It says Monadnock. What's your? Where?
I'm at Monadnock Community Hospital. We actually do have a healing art gallery here at the hospital that we have used it to feature local artists. We have a rotating gallery. Pre-COVID, we switched it up quarterly, and the artists would donate 30% of any sales back to our healing art mission at the hospital to purchase art as our part of our permanent collection and making our walls healing and comforting. So maybe there'd be some opportunity.
Were you going so far as to host, opening events or anything like that? Yeah,
we did that too. Yeah, Linda was featured in one of our shows and often attends our openings.
So anyway, you get the idea what I'm getting at. There are places all over the region, whether it's Hancock or Peterborough or Harrisville or Jaffrey or Walpole, or there are places. There are a lot of places that might be interested.
So it's a great suggestion. Thank you. Yes. And Katie's got something. I had a thought on why Keene. Yes, Katie, chime in.
Hi, it's my first time at one of these meetings, so I didn't know the rules. So my thought is I was raised in Westmoreland and then went to Keene High School. When you said why Keene, why art in Keene, my thought is it's very much a part of our everyday and a very exciting part of childhood. Like the one thing I remember most is the pumpkin festival every year. It was such a huge art connection that I don't think is obvious for most people, but little kids getting their hands in pumpkins, making their one-of-a-kind piece of art that's just temporary and so precious to them, and then going to this huge festival where they get to see hundreds, thousands of other people's one precious temporary item. I think we're just bred to be appreciative of art in this region. Westmoreland School, we did it in school. We did it at home. It was this huge point of pride for all of us. So I just think that's one small way that we're all really connected to art in the region.
Thank you for sharing that. I keep looking down because I'm taking notes. Yeah, thank you. That's really, I really appreciate that perspective. Matt and I were talking about the Pumpkin Festival, right, earlier today?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just again taking some notes here. So lots of great suggestions. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, so Matt, we have about 15 minutes left. I want them to see what we've got going.
Okay, try to do it. We're in the middle of stuff, but
In the middle of
so what I
construction at 11
wanted-
Roxbury.
Because of course you have two devices in one room, you run the risk of going a little nutty with your sound. So give me just a minute to get.
Yep. So what he's going to try to do is get his second, yeah, you can see him logging into his second device, which will allow him to give you sort of a quick walkthrough of the gallery. But you've muted on both devices. Which one do you want to speak with? Oh, I think we lost the second connection. And I can't tell if Matt is frozen on his primary connection. It kind of looks like he's frozen there in time. Well, while he's getting himself rigged up, you can see behind him. He is actually sitting in the space at 11 Roxbury. We have been doing sheetrocking. We're working on the ceiling and the lighting. We're installing some track lighting. We're working on paint colors for the wall. We've got several options, kind of different samples of paint colors, because we want to make sure that we do something that works well with the lighting in the space. The floors themselves are great. That old wooden floor. The floors are a little bit, they aren't quite level, but that's okay. That's part of the charm of these old buildings. The ceilings are tall. They're at least 10 feet tall, which is great. And in the space itself, we will have the gallery at the front part of the space. And then we will have a small kitchenette where we intend to be able to do openings where we can serve food and beverages. And then we'll also have a small workspace in the back where we'll handle our shipping for our online orders, as well as maybe do some very simple framing. I know with Creative Encounters departing, the framing is a bit of a gap. We do have Indian King in town. So if anybody needed sort of really nice framing, we're going to send them to Indian King. But if they want something simple, we might be able to do that for them right on site at the gallery. So we're still working those details out. But we do have a workspace in the back of the suite. So we're really excited to have people drop in and have a nice experience. And for any of those of you in the audience tonight who actually visited the Keene Fine Craft Gallery in Central Square, I think it's fair to say that that was a beautiful space, and that people really enjoyed coming to. And that's exactly what we want to have with our new space. We want people to feel welcome, and we want people to feel like this is just a really nice experience to be in this space. Okay, Matt. I've got an echo here. I don't know why. So I'm going to hit mute so that you can go ahead and talk. You're at, yeah. No, you're still mute.
Yeah, hang
There
on
you
just a
go.
second here. Yeah, good on this. Yeah, how come I've got
Hi, Harrison.
safe driving?
Hello.
What's going on with this?
You got your what? Safe driving mode? Just can you leave it?
We can actually see you now, so that might be good.
Yeah, I'm not getting to the.
I think, Matt, all we need is the visual.
Your video is stopped. But why?
But why? And how do we get to right here? All right, now you might have it. Yeah, and start video.
Yeah,
All right, and then flip this around. Okay, are you? Yeah, you're getting it now. And can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
All right.
This is
Well,
great.
this is my friend and helper Harrison. Say hello. And so we'll go out on. Well, hey, I'm not just step outside here. So you all are familiar with the square and the street. Here's our. Taryn has been scraping paint. We're gonna. Patty and I, we were talking about the paint colors a little bit, and yeah, these are all windows. Like some of the windows are wavy glass. This building goes way back, and we're going to leave a little bit of counter, but we took out well, just today in went some track lighting, and it's pretty rough, but we have a nice maple hardwood floor. And our main gallery space will be up front, and then we'll have a little kitchen area back here. I learned in Lyme that having a kitchen is great for openings and so forth, and just generally making it a nice place. And then this is a work area back here. This will be a workbench, and then we're we're sharing a parking lot with. That's the back door of Prime Roast, right back there. So that's out back. What more can I show you?
That's fantastic. That's really great. Thank you for that walkthrough. Any questions or comments from folks? We're quite excited and we'd love to hear your feedback.
Taryn, when will you be open for people to just walk in?
Great question. I keep saying early Mayish. Let me start at the back end. Absolutely, for sure, we will be open for Art Walk, which is, early June. Absolutely, we will be, signage will be up, colors, everything, the storefront will be painted, all of that. But if we can kind of finish our work by early to mid-May, that gives us a little bit of time to step into the space and get comfortable and work out things before Art Walk. So early Mayish. Any other thoughts or questions? Phil, what do you think?
I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Linda Greenwood from Peterborough. And I'm wondering if you're just going to be a print gallery, is that the only format you will be showing? It is. Okay.
Hang on, Matt, you want to respond to that?
I'll jump in on that. Yeah, we're the basis and the the main function of the gallery is to with a focus on handmade prints. There actually aren't that many print dealers nationwide, and so it's an opportunity to have a somewhat literally a nationwide presence in that field, so to speak, if we keep that focus. But that doesn't mean we don't need to specialize, either host other art types. So, and Taryn and I have spoken of sculpture. Actually, you said you had luck with representing a number of sculptors at the Keene gallery across the square, and that's so. Yeah, I mean, we need we need to build our foundation, and so the prints is I've made my living making these color woodblock prints as a printmaker since 1995, and that's for sure the foundation of my life. And more than anything, I have to be careful that that gallery business doesn't take over, which is why which is one of the main reasons why I'm so interested in this collaboration. This really is Taryn's project. And I play in support on a number of levels. So if she gets into, some other, something looks good and it's gonna work, I think it's not unlikely.
I'm the exhibitions chairman for the Women's Caucus for Art New Hampshire chapter. And we have all kinds of artists as membership in the Women's Caucus for Art. And so we're looking for venues to have art shows. But if, so I don't know if that's ever would ever be a possibility with your gallery. I mean, we have printmakers as members, but
So Linda, let me jump in here because Matt and I, this has been a really dynamic conversation between us. There's a huge benefit, as Matt pointed out, for us to focus and specialize and get really, really good at prints, representing prints.
I appreciate that.
However, we also want to be, how can I say this? We want to provide a place in our community where artists, so we might sponsor events, we might host events, we might, do an opening for an artist. So this is a really dynamic conversation for us that we don't have a hard and fast position on. And I'd love to have an ongoing conversation with you, Linda, on this.
Thank you.
And my email address is on our website. And, you and I can get together soon because it might be helpful for you to give me some more thinking as Matt and I kind of sort out how we do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The dynamic that you touch on, Linda, might not be unlike that secret sauce that we were touching on in relationship to Keene itself, which is, how much do you kind of stick to your own,
Thing.
boundaries, and how much do you reach out and foster connections out and about? It's actually the case that if you build something, good in a place and without too much distraction, at a certain point, you're able to facilitate connections farther afield, and hopefully it'll develop in a way that works out well, from that point of view. I've had a little bit of experience when I took on that little gallery in Lyme. I made up a rule right at the start: work by residents of Lyme, which is less than 2,000 people, and Thetford, which is maybe 2,800 people across the river in Vermont. Just two small towns. That's it. If you live in Hanover, we don't have that. We don't have work by residents of Hanover in that gallery. And it's amazing how actually wonderful that's gone over. It's obviously made the gallery very, very local, but it's also forced us to kind of pushes a little bit. And we probably will do something. We'll probably proceed along those lines. We might be fairly careful about what we take on for a long range commitment. But another example is we've used that at that Lyme gallery, we've used the internet feature. Actually, one thing we didn't mention, Taryn, about that website is it's database driven. It's more or less our inventory, our catalog. There's a neat system we have running it. That can be made available. We can actually easily display a lot of work. So we can host online exhibits, and maybe some of the connections we set up can be shared.
So I guess the long and short of it, Linda, is let's get a conversation going and let's see where it goes, for sure.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
I'll be in touch.
Good. So I'm just looking at the time. We've just got 2 minutes left. Phil, how do we, or Damaris, how do we wrap up? How do we close?
Well, I think we were going to do a really quick raffle, if that's okay.
Yes. I don't have a show and tell, but we have a lovely set of boxed greeting cards, and I forgot to bring them. So can you just envision a lovely boxed set of greeting cards? That's what we're raffling off.
Yes. So it looks like there's 14 people left here, so I just have 14 numbers. I'm gonna put them in a jar. And whatever number you are on my screen, that is who's gonna win these lovely cards. Let's see. Okay, so number 4, let's see, 1, 2. Oh, it's Phil, that doesn't count, sorry.
Well, what do you mean it doesn't count?
No way, Phil. No way.
I've never won anything here.
Yeah, no way. You got to pay full price, buddy.
Looks like
Okay.
Smith.
Ugh.
Pete, are you there?
Who?
Pete Smith.
Pete
So,
Smith.
I don't know if his video is on, but I can send you Pete's information, Taryn.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, Pete. I will connect with you and figure out whether I mail them or drop them off for you.
Yes, I have Pete's contact. So we
Okay, good.
so.
So
Awesome.
I just want to say that I'm thrilled that you're going to be open in time for Art Walk. I've been on the Art Walk committee for a very long time, and it will be so nice to have such a dynamic place on one of the side streets to really drive traffic down there and make that a really vibrant part of the Art Walk and the community.
Nice. Thank you, Lori. We look forward to participating.
I just want to say I'm so grateful for this opportunity. This is my first time joining in this program, the Chamber session. Obviously, most of you probably might not have seen me. I think I've met Taryn before.
Yes, I remember meeting you at Antioch.
Yeah. And Phil and I have also exchanged emails with Phil, but we haven't met in person. So this is a great opportunity for me. I work with Revision Energy, and I'm somebody that loves, painting. When I drive around downtown Keene, I look at the walls and, so this is really great. And I just want to commend you for the great job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's great to see you again.
Yeah, thank you.
Obviously the Wall Dog Committee thought that there was something special about Keene as well, to choose us as a destination and put us on the map in that way too. So.
Yes, for sure.
That's special.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. We really appreciate this opportunity. We've enjoyed having you join us for this event, and stop by 11 Roxbury.
Will do.
Thank you very much. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.